Today on CityCast Pittsburgh. After a week with a few hints of winter, the team got curious about how our recent snowfall compares to previous years. Today, we're chatting through a few local retreat ideas, the latest on a bankruptcy filing that could affect a bunch of local radio stations, and the unfortunate fate of our favorite would-be moonlander. Poor little Peregrine. It's January 12th, the Friday News Roundup. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I'm with CityCast producers Mary Lee Williams and Sophia Lowe. Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Hey there.
Let's kick things off with a little update, some sort of bad news. We had a very late night on Monday watching what was happening with the launch of Peregrine, the little lunar lander that was made here in Pittsburgh.
Yes, we were watching with bated breath, and we have been on a knife's edge all week.
Sophia, you want to catch us up?
Yeah, there's been a ton of updates. So this all started Monday morning, super early in the morning, when there was this rocket launch that was down in Florida, and the Pittsburgh-based company Astrobotic made the Peregrine lander. So that was supposed to make it all the way up to the moon. The rocket launch part was successful, but Peregrine, which is totally unmanned and being monitored from here in the city, it ran into some issues a few hours later. Like there were some problems getting the solar panels charged, and there were some issues with the propulsion systems. So they got the solar panels reoriented, batteries charged, but the biggest thing is that there's a propellant leak. It's still leaking now.
Yeah. As we're recording, the Peregrine is still operating, and researchers have still been optimistic about using it as a learning opportunity. But at this point, Peregrine is not going to land on the moon as planned. Astrobotic has been very on top of updating people about the mission. We know everybody on CityCast team has been following these little tweets.
It's been the most I've been on Twitter in probably 3 years.
They're like the top of my search bar right now. But a statement they posted on Wednesday, this is just one that we want to pluck out, is although we are approaching lunar distance, the moon won't be there.
It's so funny. It's like weirdly poetic.
I know it's like has greater meaning, but something about that line really gets me. Like, it won't be there.
I want to guess what this means scientifically because, like, you know, the moon is still in the sky and all of that.
It feels philosophical. That's just it. It's like, I know it's not philosophical, but it just like, I want someone to read it at open mic night. Like, it feels bigger.
I'm guessing this is less philosophical and more has to do with like math and calculating, you know, the rockets. I'm not doing a good job explaining this. I'm waving my hands around. But like the moon's in orbit and, you know, the rocket's moving there, but the timing doesn't work right. So the moon and the rocket aren't actually going to meet like in the area.
I think you're describing it correctly from what was described to me by my partner / space nerd housemate. But yeah, it's not that like the lander can be in the right spot. It's just it's way ahead of schedule. So it doesn't help. Literally, the moon has not come back to where they need it to be so that it can land. It's a bummer.
Well, then that means that answers my other question, which is like they had this statement that they put out way earlier the week, which is like, there's no chance of a soft landing on the moon, which I was just sitting there. I was like, are they going to crash into the moon? Like, what does that mean? I was just like, it plagued me. I was like up at night staring at the ceiling.
I do not think that a space robotics company would let anything crash uncontrolled into a celestial body, but I like the spirit of what you're thinking about.
I was like, if it's not a soft landing, does that mean the only one left is a hard landing?
And you can tell this is why we're all journalists, not researchers, not astrophysicists, not engineers.
I think we have the heart of astrophysicists, but the attention span of journalists.
I guess by the time this episode is hitting your ears, it looks like Peregrine's going to be out of fuel. We'll keep an eye on whether Astrobotic has anything else to share about the data that they've ended up collecting, and Griffin, which is the mission that's coming up next.
Yeah, Astrobotic is also working on the Griffin lander, which is scheduled to go up to the moon later this year. That could definitely change, though. This stuff gets delayed a lot. So this Griffin lander is part of a NASA mission where NASA will be sending up their Viper rover, and that's going to look for ice on the moon. So yeah, like what you were saying earlier about the learning opportunity talk, that does seem really critical for researchers. So their success next time. Fingers crossed, because space exploration seems very complicated.
Yeah, and very expensive.
Very expensive. And if you're listening and you're curious about what is happening, go to Astrobotic's Twitter.
X.
Whatever it's called. You know what I'm talking about. You'll find updates there. And we will also be there looking for updates.
So we will end on a happier note, we swear. But before that, one more downer. One of the biggest radio companies in the country filed for bankruptcy this week. It's called Audacy. It's based in Philadelphia. I actually did not know that. And it owns several local stations here in Pittsburgh.
I didn't realize that it owns so many of them. They've got like KDKA, Whammo, The Fan, 100.7 The Star, and others.
Yeah, the company has a really big reach here. I checked out the Pittsburgh market on Audacy's website, and it says they've got a combined 1.4 million monthly broadcast listeners. But Audacy also has a lot of debt, $1.9 billion of it.
Wow.
Woof.
But, if every one of those listeners chipped in a little bit, they'd be set.
LOL.
I mathed this in advance because I had a feeling one of y'all was going to do that. $1,347.14 each. I would cover it. No problem. Easy peasy.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe more than a little bit. Probably not something listeners can help Audacy dig out of.
Yeah.
Do we know how they got into so much debt?
So The Verge actually covered this. They said most of it came from acquiring CBS Radio for $1.5 billion in 2017.
Yes, that was a mistake.
Yeah, it was also a long time ago. So how would they know now?
I know. I'm not actually judging.
Yeah. But apparently this past November, Audacy was delisted from the New York Stock Exchange because the company's stock had dropped so much. So around that time, the Wall Street Journal reports they missed a bunch of interest payments. So it sounds like some insiders, they maybe saw this coming.
And now a bankruptcy, which I think my brain is like still reverts back to what I thought it meant when I was a little kid, which is that the company went away. And that's not true. It's always a restructuring. They don't go away.
Yeah. So basically, they're going to restructure and get their debt down to $350 million.
Oh, only $350 million.
That's still so much, but also at the same time, much less than almost $2 billion. So what does that mean for our local stations?
I don't think I know yet. I haven't seen any statements from anybody, like any of these stations. Have y'all?
Nope.
No, neither have I.
So I guess until we hear, we just have Audacy's statement to go on. After they went to bankruptcy court, they said, quote, the company does not expect any operational impact from the restructuring, end quote. And the court authorized them to keep paying people, like their employees, no interruption to benefits, vendors, suppliers, that kind of thing.
A lot of reporting I've seen also points out that iHeartMedia, another like really big radio network, also filed for bankruptcy a few years ago. And they're doing better now. So this doesn't automatically end, or maybe what you thought bankruptcy used to mean, Megan, where the company just kind of like poof goes away.
I was wrong. I know now that I was wrong. Yeah, I wonder how long it's going to be until we, I don't know something or feel the effects in some way.
Yeah, I mean, it could be coming really fast. Some of the company's lawyers told Reuters that they want to finish the court procedures in less than 2 months, which, like, I don't know. I feel like that's really a fast estimate for anything having to do with the courts, but like, you do you.
Same.
So the court and a majority of its creditors need to okay everything, and then the FCC approves it all.
Wow, Audacy is clearing $2 billion of debt faster than I'm getting through my student loan payments.
Oh, God.
It's so dark. Let's end on a high note, or I guess at least a less gloomy one.
Megan, I don't know what you're talking about. Have you looked outside? It is straight up gray.
Yeah, I've been hibernating. I don't think I've actually left the same couple pairs of sweatpants. I have rotated them, but it's been marginal this week. It is so gray and gross.
There was a brief hour of sun this morning. That's when I went out to get my coffee.
I just stared longingly out the window and I thought about going outside, but I was like, if my plants are getting enough sun through the window, am I? Probably. And I just stayed there.
No, you take that 1 hour because you know you're not going to see it again for another week or two.
True.
Yeah, if you're new to Pittsburgh or this is your first winter, if you see the sunshine for any reason, you cancel your meetings. You run, you do not walk, because that could be your only moment for days.
So usually we'd be in the office also, but we opted to work from home this week since it's been so gross out. I really love the snow. It's beautiful. I dislike when it turns to slush. That is much less pleasant. But I haven't seen any slush unless there's like some weirdly hanging around. I think it all melted.
Yeah, I'm willing to be wet or cold, but not both at the same time. I refuse.
I love snow and, I'm okay with dealing with the winter. I went to college in the Chicago area, but, it's my second winter here. So I went on a little quest to get a sense of what I'm in for in Pittsburgh. And by calendar year, 2023 was our region's second least snowy year on record.
Second least. 2023 was the second least. Got it. I'm following you.
Yeah, according to the FIPS, we got 13.1 inches of snow.
Wow.
Yeah, not a lot. Before that, the number one least snowy year ever, at least recorded, was back in 1998. We got just under 11 inches of snow then, so not even a foot.
Yeah, I don't really know what's normal because I am from the South. And so when you said 13, I was like, dang, that's a lot of snow. But clearly more than 13 inches is the norm.
Yeah, I have no idea what we usually get, but 13 inches did feel low to me.
Yeah, we do usually get a lot more. The Trib reported that between 1991 and 2020, the average yearly snowfall was a little over 44 inches.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That's way more than I thought.
More than I expected too, but this is the real big number. The most snow we've ever recorded in 1 year is almost 79 inches.
Wow.
Did people leave their homes?
Yeah, that sounds like that's 1 or 2 or 3 really bad storms plus a particularly snowy year,
Yeah, I am curious about the average, though, because if you have something as high as 79 and then something lower, I wonder if it's kind of tipped the scales a little bit.
Well, we have the range, right? It's from 11 inches to 79 inches. That's where we fall, which is huge. That's a huge range.
Mm-hmm. That is a big range. That is a big range. But now that you mention it, I also read this article from the FIPS not long ago talking about how actually the El Nino and La Nina years can impact snowfall, which, yeah. So if you don't know what those are, the El Nino or La Nina years, it's like a weather pattern that's common on the West Coast, but it does actually impact us despite it being very far away. We are in an El Nino year, and the surface of the Pacific Ocean stays warmer, and that can impact how much snow we have, which I think is pretty interesting.
It is. I wouldn't have thought that it could make that big of a difference, on such a wide swath of the U.S.
Weather is a fascinating science.
Well, obviously, again, we are still pretty early into this year, but I gave the National Weather Service a call to see how we're stacking up so far. When I called earlier in the week, we had gotten 2.8 inches so far. I've seen some flurries since then, so maybe a little bit more.
Could have gone up a little, probably not a lot.
No, probably not a lot. I'm annoyed because there hasn't been enough snow for me to go sledding yet. And if I move to this hilly city, I want to sled.
So if there isn't enough snow by your standards for sledding, I mean, do the ski resorts still open if there isn't a lot of snow? How do they get around that?
Seven Springs and Blue Knob both have some trails open right now, but obviously always a good idea to double check again if you're popping over for the day or you've got a trip coming up in a couple of weeks. Boyce Park is also open as we're recording, but they did close for a little bit at the end of December.
But being open isn't the same thing as having a good time. I don't know about y'all if y'all are into snow sports, but I use a website called onthesnow.com to check my conditions, or I just go directly to the resort websites. Like, for example, I was looking recently because I would like to take a trip in West Virginia at the Snowshoe Resort. They have 48 inches right now of packed powder, and it shows you how much of that is recent snowfall, which, makes the cushion a little nicer if you are prone to falling. But I don't know how often it updates. For example, like at Canaan Valley in Timberline, also both in West Virginia, also both great. It's a lot more snow. It's 54 inches and 65 inches respectively, but it's machine groomed. So it like tells you the difference. So you know how much of it's machine made, how much of it's natural. So you get a sense of what, at least to mentally get yourself prepared for.
I feel so out of my depth. I don't know what any of this means.
It's important.
Yeah, ski resorts pretty much all make their own snow, especially here.
Yeah, but if it's all man-made, it doesn't feel as nice to ski on. Like, it's not as good a quality. You really need at least a mix of natural snow to give it that fresh pow feeling. I am not a good skier, to be clear, but I do enjoy it. I make a joyful noise, motion, movement. So the warmer it is in Pittsburgh, the warmer it's probably going to be anywhere around us, even at elevation. Like, they might get the precipitation, but you could still sometimes ski in short sleeves, which is a weird vibe.
Cool vibe, I would say. Cool vibe.
Yeah, but if you fall, that can't be fun
True.
bare skin.
It's mostly teenage boys that are doing it, and I don't think they're falling a lot. Or if they are, they just don't care.
Okay, fair enough. I have never been skiing, but I'm sad that the city announced that Shenley's ice rink isn't opening up this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still finishing construction and some updates. I think, there were some setbacks like a pipe burst. They're also putting in ventilation, all that kind of stuff. To be honest, whenever I go ice skating, I don't stand the ice for that long because my feet hurt fast.
Aww.
Maybe the rental skates just don't fit well, but Shenley is my go-to in the area since I like outdoor rinks. It makes it feel more like a fun wintertime event.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of those with like big group meetups and stuff. It's really quaint in the middle of the city.
I do not ice skate because last time I went ice skating, I broke my wrist. But I like to...
No, really?
Yeah, not here. I did it in Wisconsin. I was skating on a lake.
Mary Lee, you have so many calamity stories.
I just am very clumsy and I never learned how to fall. It's a very useful skill I do not have.
Oh, no.
Well, if you do want to ice skate in Pittsburgh outside, an alternate option is the UPMC rink at PPG Place. So that's like the one by the metal reflective buildings downtown close to Market Square. It's open through February 25th. And Next Pittsburgh also did a roundup of a bunch of ice skating rinks in the area. We'll link to those in the show notes.
Yes, that was helpful because they mentioned a couple other outdoor rinks, and those are cheaper than the one in front of PPG Place.
Right.
That one is definitely a little pricier. Next, Pittsburgh mentioned South Park Ice Skating Rink in Bethel Park and North Park Ice Skating Rink in Allison Park. And for Allegheny County residents, it's $5 to get on the rink and then $2 for skate rentals.
$7 is an appropriate fee. I'm fine with that.
Exactly.
And if you like skating inside, there are a few options too. The Hunt Armory in Shadyside and the Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry. They're both Penn's facilities. I've never been to either one of them to ice skate myself, but you've got to imagine they're like nice and shiny because they're owned by the Penns.
I feel like going to a place where people like to ice skate is always like an indoor facility or so. I love watching people ice skate. Like, I like the people that are like hockey players, you can tell, and they're like going real fast and doing all these tricks. And there's like the people that know how to figure skate. It's such like a wonderful experience to watch different forms of skating all in one place. It's very peaceful.
I love the kids, especially the like various forms of walkers and assistive devices they have for kids or beginners. There are adult versions of those too.
Oh my God, so cute.
I like it when they have little penguins for like kids to hold on to. I don't know if they do that here, but I've seen that in other rinks.
I clearly need one.
I've seen like the PVC pipe versions with tennis balls on the bottom.
Aw.
Penguin one sounds cuter and more thematic. I'm here for the winter vibes.
It does.
Well, while you're here for the winter vibes, we're also committed to winter fun. So Pittsburgh Magazine wrote about a few getaway ideas. This will also be in the show notes for anyone who wants to go through the full list. My favorite was the Nemacolin. So it's a luxury resort in Farmington, PA. It's south of here. It has something called the Peak, which is like some slopes that offer skiing and snowboarding. But honestly, I just want to go for the vibes. I love looking at luxury. I cannot afford luxury, but there's something about being in it I really like.
I've never been to this place, but it looks nuts. They have their own airport, their own bowling alley, axe throwing, like all these pools. They have some kind of golf academy, ropes courses. There's a paintball thing. Their website is nuts. Spa services, care of CityCast Pittsburgh, please.
LOL. Yeah, let's do that. I like that idea.
I've always been fascinated by the idea of going to Nemacolin, but I have not actually done it. It just looks very fancy.
It does look very fancy. I would be scared I would break something if I go there. But Sophia and Megan, what are y'all's top picks?
Mine is Getaway Lodge in Cook State Park. Again, more vibe setting. The inside looks cozy. And if I do want to venture outside, they say that there's a river nearby where otters are there sometimes. And an otter playing in the snow seems amazing. I would cry if I saw a little otter jumping in and out of the snow.
There's also like a lot of hiking trails, I think.
I've heard that too, yeah.
Around there, yeah. I love winter hiking. I'm a big advocate.
I own snowshoes, but I've never actually used them. I don't even know how to use them. I need to like YouTube it or something. But we need more snow.
We do need more snow. What about you, Megan? Top pick.
So I've done getaways. I'm just looking at the list at both the Omni Bedford Springs. That was my baby moon. It was real nice. And Seven Springs, of course, the ski resort. I did one of their cheaper midweek packages around the holidays. If you can get over there like during the middle of the week. Pro tip, much cheaper. So for something new, I think I'm going to pick the Great Wolf Lodge, and it is entirely because of their commercials. Have y'all seen those?
No.
I have, yes.
Mary Lee, I'm going to send you one. The sound quality is trash, so we're not going to play it, but I just want you to experience this.
Please. I'm excited. Oh my God. There are like CG giant wolves in this couple's hotel room.
I think they're at home.
Oh my God. The kids are riding giant wolves.
And cute wolves. They're cute wolves.
The wolf is like carrying their bags. Okay. Iconic tagline. Nothing brings the pack together like a trip to Great Wolf Lodge.
It's so cute.
Amazing. No notes.
I was watching this with family the other day, though, and somebody was like, I would be really upset if I watched this as a child and I thought there were really wolves there and there were no cute, enormous, cuddly wolves.
So I know this isn't the intention of the commercial, but the wolves really reminded me of the wolves from the Twilight movie.
Yeah, actually. Similar vibes.
The size of them compared to the humans is shockingly similar. Like if you're kind of wondering what did these wolves look like in this commercial that Megan just had Mary Lee and Sophia watch, they kind of look like the wolves from the Twilight franchise. And also, that's an easy to Google thing. You can figure that out.
Well, if you want to get outside and you take any of these recommendations, let us know. You can always call or leave us a voicemail or text us at 412-212-8893.
Yeah, and we hope everyone has a wonderful weekend and that the sun comes out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Thank you, Mary Lee. Thank you, Sophia.
Thanks.
Yeah, talk to you next time.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. If you want to give us a birthday gift, in case you missed it, our podcast turned 2 years old this week. Please consider becoming a member of CityCast Pittsburgh. It gets you ad-free listening and helps us keep this whole ship afloat. We would really appreciate it. Our music is by Benji. Mary Lee Williams is our executive producer. Sophia Lowe and Dylan Brogan produced the show. Francesca DeBecco wrote our newsletter, and I am your host, Megan Harris. We are off on Monday for MLK Day, so we'll be back on Tuesday with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend, everyone.
In honor of our talking about Astrobotic, they're cats. They're taco cats in space. That's what's on my sweatpants.